I was going to try to get you started here on assignment 1, week 4. Sometimes it just helps, I think, from talking to you that you think, anyway, and so do I, that it helps if somebody just kind of talks you through it. So let's see if this can help you a bit. This week is a two-part week, and by that I mean you've got two assignments. And if you'll notice up here, it says they are related, okay? Now, a lot of you all have asked, do I have to use something in the bibliography? Well, actually, you should, all right? And you should because of what it says here in the second paragraph up here. Reliable or scholarly. And the nice thing about that is it delivers a lot of the resources that you kind of need to know. Now, this is just going to make it easier for you, so go along with it. You're just going to find a piece and talk about it, all right? So go to bibliography, or if you can find another reliable or scholarly source, a museum that maybe isn't in the bibliography, check it out, and if it looks like you've got enough stuff on it, that's great. Because, like I said, two parts in this assignment. First part, get an artwork, okay? Provide an image, and you kind of have heard from me about that, and you have to identify. I want media, size, and maybe date, all right? And a link to the web page that you found it, okay? Then I want you to describe the subject and the media in terms of the elements and principles. Now, you know elements and principles by now. And I got to tell you again, the three major principles I want you to talk about are unity, focal point, and balance. And tell me why. Don't just tell me it's got great balance or great unity. All right? And then look very carefully after you've done this description and tell me what you think about this work. How does it make you feel? What does it make you think's going on? There's no right answer, okay? So just kind of let yourself into this and talk to it that way, all right? And then, of course, you do need to do this. Now, let me run you through, if I can, and I'll try to do this as quickly as possible. Let me run you through an example here, and maybe I can give you a bit of a hint, all right? This, if I can get it to come up over here where our screen is set up. This, and then I'm going to see if I can make it come down just a bit here so that you can see the whole image. Yeah, that's a Rembrandt piece. It was painted in about, whoops, didn't mean to do that. It was painted in about 1641 or 2, I think. And first of all, of course, you're going to have to download it if you can't get it to embed. And then you want to attach it, and you want to look up, not really do the research yet. That's part 2 of this week, all right? But just kind of figure out what the medium is, maybe when it was done, the name of the artist, that kind of information, and find me a web link, all right? So you're all set to move into assignment 2 when you get there, but not yet, because I want you to look at it, get a gut reaction, and then the fun of it is doing the research afterwards. All right, so if I'm looking at this, I'm going to talk about, first of all, value. Look at the high contrast here with the very dark black and the very white whites. Lots of value going on, a lot of contrast on that. So that would be a good thing to talk about. And look at the lines. Look at these implied lines and actual lines with these diagonals. Boy, that does give you a lot of movement, doesn't it? And it's a very active scene. I mean, obviously it's not a movie, it's just a picture, but you get the feeling of a lot of activity in there. Now then, Rembrandt, we'll talk about in a minute, Rembrandt chooses here to use color, and you would talk about maybe in this red suit over here, and you want to specify which red suit. You would talk about how dark the red is and how saturated the highlighted parts are. And maybe you would say that red is repeated over here, the sash of the gentleman in the center in black and white. And then you could talk a little bit about the golds and the yellows that you see over there. So you're going to describe this natural shapes. You're going to tell why they're natural, because they look like they really would look. A real person, a real hand. It's modeled. It just looks that way, okay? So very natural. Look at this again, high contrast. You can talk about value again, not just the value of the color, but the value, the lights and darks in the whole piece. Lots of darks on this, right? And then you want to move into principles after you've explored line, shape, color. And maybe you want to talk about space. You see there's lots of space by these overlapping ways, and maybe even size. This guy's a lot bigger than, say, these guys back here. So those are 2 ways to create space. Then you want to jump into principles, and you want to talk about focal point. Obviously, in this case, these guys, by contrast, maybe by size and certainly by placement. Look at this. Look at how all these lines are leading you to these two. So this is certainly the focal point of the image. Unity, I would say repetition of the dark blacks all throughout, and also by continuation. How these lines lead you here, and then they lead you back here, and then look at that swoop from that flag all the way down, how that line is continued here. And that little curve pushes your eye right back over there, and look, here you are here, and look how that little thing right here leads you back to this guy, and then so on. Continuation, certainly. All right. Then, when you've done all that, tell me what you think's going on. What are these guys doing? All right. And then, of course, you want to do a proofread. Don't forget to respond and read your classmates. And then you've got it done. You're pretty well ready for this. Now, I'll talk to you about what to do next in the next painting, or the next assignment. But for now, that ought to get you started in this. Important thing is finding a source that has those scholarly kind of resources behind it. Okay? Looking forward to see what you do.